We're talking advocacy today, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Trish Grant, who is the Director of Advocacy for IHC. Welcome to Awhi at Home, Trish.
Oh, kia ora, Fiona. Thanks for having me. I'm really pleased to be here.
We're in another period of transition at the moment, transitioning back into schooling for some of our children. What can we do if we feel that things are a bit rough at school and we're not being welcomed the way other people might be?
This is an important topic because we need to understand that disabled children have a right under the Education Act and an education policy to get what they need to be at school and to be welcomed at the front door with open arms. Sadly, that doesn't happen in many situations, and it's not happening now as children transition back to school. And one of the things is the way New Zealand has decided to structure education. So even though we've got law and policies that says, yes, your child is welcome, they'll get what they need to learn, and any other things that they need to be at school, the actual management of schools of that falls to the schools, what we know as tomorrow's schools. And that's the kicker, because some schools feel that they don't have to comply with the law or with policy. You know, it's a very emotional thing, isn't it? When you get turned away, or you get that, oh, that school down the road is going to be better for your child. And some families, even as recently as yesterday, I was talking to a mum, she's saying, I feel really bullied by the school. And this is just absolutely not okay. So we need to fight harder, we need to fight together, and we need to make sure that people get, there are two things you need: information and support.
Where is a good place to go to find out what you need to know?
So there's a number of places that you can find out about what is right and rightful. So, for example, IHC's got an advocacy toolkit. We've got a whole section in there about education and what you should receive and what to do if you don't receive it. Youth Law's got some fantastic information, and they've written lots of good words and good ideas about how to get a fair deal in education. A lot of organisations now online, Fiona, actually families are a great source of information for each other too. So, for example, the VIPs group.
It's all very well to know about human rights and the rights of disabled people and the rights of children and the right to attend your local school and the fact that that school has to be open and welcoming. But when it doesn't and when it isn't, it feels really personal, and it's really hard to know what to do. And schools probably don't want someone banging on about their rights when you just want them to embrace and welcome your child. So what's the first thing we can do to try and make it work?
My first advice, when things are tough, stand your ground. It too, stand tall. You've got nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. Your child has a right to be at that school. Your child has a right to get what they need to access the curriculum, to be happy at school.
What about the schools who say, look, my hands are tied, your child needs more support than we can give them. We just don't have the budget. We just can't.
You say, well, that's not a situation that I'm willing to tolerate. How about we work with you to have a discussion with the ministry about what you need and what my child needs, and how the ministry should be providing that.
And where does the ministry sit with that? Because as you say, schools are self-governing and the best practice is often led from the top, and it's a board of trustees that you might end up having to talk to, and they might say, well, we don't get enough support from the ministry, and the ministry says, well, the schools are self-governing. Where does that leave families, and who can we talk to?
At least families between a rock and a hard place. They feel completely unsupported by everyone. So we need to shift those conversations. So I mean, you know, like you have to, it's a terribly exhausting journey. If you're making a complaint, you've got to talk to your teacher, then you've got to talk to the principal, and then you've got to write to the board of trustees, and then they'll say, well, sorry if you're like that, and actually we can't do anything. So then you say, okay, how about we both have this conversation with the ministry and see what they can provide to make your life better and to make my child's life better. I've seen a lot of those relationships turn around when people feel they've got an equal place in that relationship and not having to beg. This isn't about charity and feeling grateful. This is about schools doing what they should be doing by law.
In the meantime, we still have to have children going to school or not going to school, and this is where families can feel sometimes that they just...
You need to reach out to someone in your community who can stand beside you. Okay? And those people, if you don't know them yet, you can easily get to know them. They're contacting people who know about this stuff, like youth law, like IHC, CCS, VIPs, very important parents feeling their power about changing the system for their children. There's New Zealand Down Syndrome Association, Autism New Zealand. All of these organisations, their rallying call is around getting a fair deal for disabled students, whether it's at school or with the health system or wherever. So there's a lot of advocacy expertise. So you need to be able to pick up the phone and say, help, I'm having trouble with school, I'm feeling really intimidated about having this conversation. Can someone come and stand beside me?
So the best thing to do then is to stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
Know what you need, know what you're entitled to, and not
ask for help.
And ask for help.
Yeah.
And that will be the best outcome for your child.
Yes. And also, you know, the ministry have recognised the problem, which is good. They're setting in place this disputes resolution service, which you can access. And so that's great.
Really, really grateful for all of your strong, empowering words this morning, Trish. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, well, look, IHC has been doing this for 70 years and we're not going to go away.